by trending topic. You have news, you have entertainment, you have streaming media, news groups. Okay, makes sense. But then you look at what are the top 10 categories for malware. Well, some of these make sense. Well, spyware. A third of the malware that we found was already categorized by traditional URL filtering approaches as being bad sites. That's good. But then you see entertainment, you see search engines, but let me kind of show it to you a different way. Let's look at categories that were unpopular for malware. So this was the top 10 categories overall. And you look at their rank for overall, and then you look at their rank for malware. So you see news. News ranked #1 overall, but ranked 17 for malware. So out of all the trending topics that we looked at, 19% of them pointed to news sites, but only 1% of the malware was found there. Similarly for streaming media. It was #4 overall, but 21 for malware. Sports reference, even social networking, a little bit surprising. 3% of the overall trending topics pointed to social networking sites, but all the malware we found there was 0.3%. So there are certain areas that were kind of unpopular, if you will. But then on the other side of that, there are certain areas that were more popular. And these won't surprise you. If you look at the malware rank for hosting sites, it was #5 overall, but it was #5 for malware, but 20 overall. You look for peer-to-peer sites, it was #6 for malware and 46 overall. And proxy sites, #8 for malware and #42 overall. So these won't surprise you. Places that you expect to find malicious code, they rank higher for malware and very low, much lower for overall general trending topics. We looked at, okay, were the particular domains that were hosting most of this. Then we looked at several examples of the types of things that we were seeing. So here's one that we came across in this time period, some guy named LeBron James. I think he plays basketball. Right? So during this time period, this was actually when he was deciding what city he was going to go play. So it's a very popular trending topic. And this is actually the first page of Google results. You click and you're looking for LeBron James, and this thing tells you, oh, you want to see this, you want to figure out what city he's going to. No worry, you just need this new Flash upgrade. You need version 11, which anybody from Adobe in here, you guys haven't released version 11. But we kind of clicked and kept going. It wasn't my computer, so if you're executable, and sure enough, you got this new decoration, interior decoration on your desktop, and it just shows you kind of the types of things that we were seeing on the other side of these results. We spent some time looking at, well, kind of what are the top terms? That was LeBron James' example. What are the top terms that people are using, or particular things that are popular? So kind of here's a list from that 2-month period. And you look at some of these and you wonder kind of, well, what are these? Well, one is this guy, Adam Willer. Remember Adam Willer? It's a guy that basically forged his way into Harvard. A bunch of scholarships, around the age of 23 was found out and is now facing like multiple counts for criminal activity. So, this poor guy, when that news hit, he was a trending topic, and he became basically the #6 trending topic that was used to point to malware during this time period. So it was interesting to look at the different things. Another one was Lois Wilson. Anybody know Lois Wilson? Okay. I won't admit to knowing Lois Wilson. She's actually, her and her husband, you're laughing now that you see what she does, right? Her and her husband actually founded Alcoholics Anonymous. So they, actually provided a pretty good service to humanity, but they actually, during this time period, there was a TV movie being released that was her life story. So a lot of people were talking about it, so it was a trending topic, and she actually became the #1 topic during this time period that was used to point to malware. It's like, okay, that's interesting. Now, the one that I found to be my favorite, my viewer's choice, is Hope Zwarsky. So during this time period, Playboy magazine announced their Playmate of the Year. And that Playmate of the Year became really the #2 topic that was used to point to malware. And so, it was actually, they released the issue. It was the first time the Playboy did a 3D centerfold. So you have the glasses and everything. So she became one of the top trending topics during that time period. So, those are the types of activities that we're seeing. And after we, really went back and we're looking at the Twitter work that I talked about earlier, and then looking at the search engine work that we're talking about, we start to look at other platforms, like, kind of what's the relationship between an attacker targeting things on Twitter and targeting things on a search engine, and then on other networks like YouTube, for example. And we saw some interesting things. And I'll kind of wrap up just with this last example here. But anyone remember Darryl Stingley? A couple football fans? So it's pretty, what do I want to call it? Well-known event in football is a tackle that he was involved in that left a player paralyzed. And during this time period, the player that was involved actually passed away. And this happened decades ago, but this gentleman passed away during this time period. And so there was a lot of talk about it, and the video was being distributed around. And so it was a trending topic. So actually, if you looked on Google and searched for Derek Stingley, it's a trending topic. You know, some of the results ended up with things that were actually hosting info-stealer Trojans. So, you know, this particular term was being passed around because of this guy's death, and on the search engines, he was a trending topic and pointing to different malicious code. You go over to Twitter, you see, you know, many people using, you know, Daryl Stingley and the other gentleman, Jack Tanton, and their tweets to point you to different URLs. You point to a couple of these URLs, you now have people bring you over to YouTube, and bring you over to YouTube, and you're to watch this video of this gentleman being tackled on the football field. But if you look at all the related suggested videos here, you don't look too closely, a little bit is graphic, but there's a lot of porn. So, you know, you went from something being used on search engine optimization to it being used on Twitter to now the attackers on YouTube are actually using that term as suggestions or meta tags to actually get their porn somehow associated with a football video. Right? And so then, you know, the same term we see over here, you know, here's a guy that's offering you this video, but saying, wait a second, due to copyright issue with YouTube, it's YouTube's fault. You actually can't view the video here. You have to click here, go to my site to view the video. So we're starting to see this relationship. You know, we started off looking at kind of how can we tell a malicious account in a social network, right? So we started off with looking at Twitter as an example of that. Or can we use base just their user reputation and behavior to identify the good people from the bad people? And then, you know, we looked at, you know, if you take a user perspective of that, how does it differ for Twitter and for search engines? And then we're seeing how it comes across to YouTube, and it has that same problem. You have this user-generated content community, and you have people that are posting legitimate content and people that are posting illegitimate content, and there's a need to understand kind of who are the good actors and who are the bad actors. And so with that, kind of wrap up, and that just gives you some highlights of some of the work that we've been doing in this area to say, kind of with so many of the platforms that we deal with now, not being a domain level trust, but being this kind of user level content creation. What are the ways, you know, while, you know, certain parts of the world are busy building better ways to build out attack signatures, and certain parts of the world are busy building better ways to secure those web apps, you know, we're doing some work that looks at can we kind of just use the behavior of the accounts in those systems to separate out the legitimate actors from the illegitimate actors. So with that, we have some more data on the website if you're interested, and I appreciate it, you for your time. Thanks.